Hi, CP.
Hi, Mummy Bear.
Episode 21 of Good Old Chit-Chats.
Yes, and who's it with?
This week we're with Ben from Clapham, who was on episode 20 of Gardener's World 2024. And he had that incredible garden that was very, very, very steep.
Huge gradient to it, wasn't it?
Huge gradient. It went from high at the back to low at the front. He and his husband and Axel, his doggy,
must not forget the dog. Very
who is
important.
also on the show, are in a flat in Clapham.
Basement.
Mid-terrace. It's a basement flat, and they had to dig out the bottom end of the garden to kind of meet the basement flat and then terrace it upwards. And
it's amazing. It's like a jungle. You kind of come out, and they're very different kind of areas. So the bottom area is very kind of green and shady.
That was the dining terrace, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They had that wall put in, and they had to use bamboo to act as kind of a noise dampener.
Yeah, like you would with cork on walls and stuff like that. It's exactly
sound
the same.
studio, because it's sort of the sound resonated round for the neighbours when they were having a meal outside.
Like an amphitheatre. Poor guys were just like, I don't want to hear what you had for breakfast.
And then you had terraces going up where he used a lot of, and I still don't know how you actually say the word. A lot of people say gabion, some people say gabion.
Oh yeah, still don't know how to say that.
I lean more towards gabions, but most people I hear say gabions.
Yeah.
So those cages where you then put in rocks, or as he talks about on this episode, Ben mentions about using wood inside as well.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Obviously, great bug hotel.
So they have these different terraces, and he has one area which has his greenhouse on and some little veggie beds, and then at the very top terrace he had a very hidden seating area with lovely trees that they've planted, bringing in that sort of shade and shelter from all the other windows that can see into their garden.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful, beautiful garden.
Just lots of different planting, which give you all these different kind of feels to different spaces.
Yeah.
If that's kind of how I could say it.
Exactly. And Ben designed it all himself, so it is just so beautifully designed. So if you're living on a slope, this is a great one to watch on Gardener's World, because it gives some real good insight into how to do it.
He also has the most amazing photography, which you've shown, and he talks a bit about how he goes around doing that photography. Yeah, and as sometimes we might you see something as you're passing on a street or something, and coming out of the crack of a rock, and it's just like, oh, that's gorgeous.
Quickly get a photo of it.
Exactly.
Yes, we hear about Ben's horticultural photography.
Yep.
He also talks about the gabions, and he sent an interesting link to information on gabions, so I will be putting that on our website, notjustgarden.co.uk.
Yes.
As well as some supplies that Ben mentioned for some of the plants that he got. He's found some very reliable sources for a lot of his planting.
Yeah, it's not always the big brands, it's sometimes these nice little suppliers, and they do things perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Their garden is also open through the NGS, so I'll put a link to that too on our website. And then we have a conversation about hot walls. Ben
This is amazing.
Talks about these hot walls, which I'd never heard of. And reading up about them, there is a hot wall still in existence in Monmouth. It's called the Nelson Garden, so I'll put a link to that as well. Apparently they were very commonly built in the 18th century, and only a few have survived. So this one in Monmouth is still all intact and still being used. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they've got a furnace at one end, and then the walls contain kind of horizontal flues, which can go up to 75 foot along apparently, and then there are chimneys along the top. So it just keeps all your plants warm. Nice little cosy hot water bottle.
Like one big radiator.
Exactly. In terms of noises, we're fairly quiet this week.
Oh, wow.
Hobbs.
Is that possible?
Hobbs does, yeah, exactly. It's normally Hobbs. She does grumble now and then. Ben is with his dog Axel, who's a Portuguese water dog, who was there with him throughout this chat, and we didn't hear a breath from this doggy. So Hobbs, listen and learn.
Yeah.
That's how we do podcasts, please, going forward.
Podcast, please. Well, righty-ho, for the dream garden structure, we have garden boundary, shed or greenhouse, 5 ornamentals, 5 edibles, 1 statement tree, pond or pool plus 1 plant, finally your favourite seating area with your favourite drink, and 1 plant for the area.
Yep, and Ben gives us a lovely insight into his dream garden.
With some amazing ideas.
Amazing ideas. So let's have a listen.
Absolutely.
This is episode 21. It's a good old chit-chat with Ben.
Please enjoy.
Hi Ben, welcome to Good Old Chit-Chat.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Lovely to see you. We saw you on Gardener's World this year, wasn't it?
Yep, just this summer, yep.
Mid-series, I think. And you had your incredible garden, sort of London terraced flat you're in, aren't you?
That's right, yeah. It's an old Victorian conversion.
Yeah. And you had this garden that is on a slope, and then you did an enormous amount of work to terrace the slope. And make this little haven in it. We saw on the show that you did a lot of the work yourself. Can you explain a bit about what you had to do for that?
Yeah, so as I say, it's a sloping site, so we have to terrace it all. And if I'm perfectly honest, I didn't really want to do the work myself. It was more lack of funds because we were renovating a flat. Yeah, you know, renovating a flat in London, so you can add an extra 30% to the price of that because it's in London.
Oh yeah.
So the budget for the garden was zero. So yeah, we actually got the builders to dig out the courtyard bit, which I could never have done by myself because that's a sort of 5 meter by 5 meter square space.
And you had to go underground because you're in a
correct.
Flat,
yeah, it's slightly odd. So the way they built this street, to get down to the solid clay under the houses, they actually had to dig down about 6 feet. And then the spoil from that trench, basically where they put the terrace in, was thrown behind the houses into the gardens. So that raised the garden level.
Yeah.
So that's why. Yeah, exactly. So that's where the slope comes from. So they did that bit of work, but everything else beyond that point was me with a shovel, a fork, a rake, pickaxe to begin with. Yeah.
Really? Did you have a lot of roots to get through?
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of weed, tree and shrub growth, self-seeded sycamores and brambles and elderberries in particular. Stuff that the birds drop, you know.
Yeah. Which you used to your advantage later on.
Exactly.
Did you have any Japanese knotweed there?
Yeah, it's surprisingly common in London. I think just because people throw garbage over other people's fences quite a lot.
Oh, nice.
It is on the street, but not in our gardens. Not in our gardens.
Really?
Like, 3 or 4 doors down.
Do you worry about that?
It's a slight concern, because obviously we're all connected underground, and the knotweed doesn't care.
No.
But I think it's become so litigious. I think everybody, as soon as you see it, you put your neighbours on notice so that they're aware, and then it's their responsibility to sort of get rid of it. Because you can't really get a mortgage on top of a knotweed infestation. So yeah, I think everybody's a bit more careful about it.
There's certainly very different views to it around the world, aren't there? For example, in Europe, I don't think they even worry about it. It's just just cut it back.
Yeah, I've heard that edible thing before as well. It is interesting, rather than just trying to eradicate it, can we actually use it? And,
can we work with it?
Make the best of it, yeah.
Yeah. So with you being in the clay part of the foundations, do you get any issues with either flooding or damp in the flat, or is that all right?
I mean, it's a 150-year-old building, so there's always a little bit of damp in the corners and stuff. It's just the nature of an old building. But not as much as typical houses, I think. Touch wood, but flooding, no. We are sort of, Clapham, where we are, is built on a hill. So we're on a slope, and we're outside the Thames floodplain. So that's all good.
Yeah.
And because of the way the spoil heap was put behind the houses, we're on a sort of 2-directional slope. So we sort of slope from top to bottom of the garden, east-west, and then from side to side, we go north-south.
Oh, right.
So everything goes away down the hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's enough trees and things in the garden now in particular.
Suck it all up.
Exactly. Nothing gets down the house. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you started off by digging out this front area by the flat, and that's where you've got your seating area, and then you had to sort out the acoustics because it just kind of sound was reverberating around.
Yeah, I don't think we were very popular to begin with. After the building work, and then once the building work was done, I was sitting out there and actually enjoying the space. It was quite nicey. So yeah.
Yeah. So you sorted that out with bamboo and some foliage, didn't you?
Exactly. Yeah.
What I recall. But then, can you explain how you did all that terracing? We have a vested interest because we live on a slope. We've done our own rudimentary terracing, but just using wood that we know will rot within the next couple of years, and we're hoping plant roots will then stabilise that part of the bank and things like that. So nothing particularly technical. But you were digging right in. You were doing these sort of sheer walls and all sorts. Can you explain where do you start with that, and how did you build it up?
Well, so the only sort of traditional wall that was built is a breeze block wall at the edge of the courtyard. And that had to be designed by the structural engineer who was doing the work for the rest of the flat, because it's holding back nearly 6 foot of soil. I refused, so for health and safety, I refused to build anything myself that was over a metre. You know, if it would break an ankle, I can deal with that. If it would kill somebody, I can't deal with that. So that was in the builder's hands and out of mine. But beyond that, it's all gabion baskets. And there's some really easy stuff online where you can sort of see what width or depth of gabion basket you need to manage the height and then the amount of soil that sits behind it. So we basically just worked out from that how many levels we needed to have in without creating too high a rise that we couldn't have a gabion basket that would then contain the soil behind it.
So you started off, so your builder did the breeze wall, created then a flat level on top of that. That's kind of the main terrace, is it?
Well, they built the wall and that was it. So
you backfilled that.
Exactly.
Right.
We had to work. It was a bit complicated because we had to work against the builders. So they were working on the flat and in the courtyard, and the wall that they built was one of the very last things they did.
Yeah.
So we started at the top of the garden and then worked our way towards that wall. We basically took the lowest point, the highest point, worked out the slope in between, and then how many steps we'd need over what height to get from the bottom to the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. A much more scientific approach than we've taken, Sweet Pea. We should just we'll bung this in here and worry about it later.
Exactly.
There was a bit of that in the end as well. There was definitely a bit of that in the end. Yeah, for sure.
So these gabions are interesting because we see them occasionally. I think Rekha has some. Does Rekha have some at her place in the Peak District? She's on quite a hill, isn't she? And there's sort of varying degrees of success with it. Yours were really beautiful, and there was is it the top one that you used wood?
That's right.
To fill it, and that's heavy enough to weigh those down. And
well, it's in the first 4 years, yes. We're now 8 years in, so the last 4 years it's been breaking down quite heavily, mostly because of the stag beetles that now live in there, which was kind of the point of it. It's meant to be a wildlife haven, bit of habitat.
Of course.
It's worked very well, and it's now being shored up with posts. And I think next year I will replace it with gabions, but actually put wood in there, because the beech hedge that sits behind it has actually stabilised the bank side now, so that soil's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So you'll replace the gabions that are there at the moment.
So there's
Can
no
you
gabion.
not just lift the lid? Are there no gabions?
Yeah, so that is just the logs. So
I see.
The other thing we had to do when we moved in was take down 2 really big sycamore trees at the back of the garden,
Right.
Because they were actually leaning into the neighbouring property. Okay. And we had 4 different arboriculturists come out. They all said one of them said we might be able to save them. The other 3 were just like, no, they're a danger to life, take them down. We had the guy from the council come out who sort of checks there are no tree preservation orders or anything, and he said, you definitely want to take them out. So they had to come down, which meant I had to tear my plans up and start again, because I planned for a shady garden.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But that wood then became the retaining wall up the top.
So with no gabions? No
On that
cages
top
then?
level, no, just the wood.
Right.
Wow.
But they're sizable pieces. I mean, they're sort of a foot length logs and about a foot wide.
Yeah.
So they're pretty heavy.
Yeah. Pretty big. So those are old trees then.
Surprisingly not. Our neighbours were telling us they'd sort of watched them grow up because they blocked their view from the top floor next door. So like 20 years, 30 years at the most, they were saying, from sort of absolute ceilings. So not young, but not
so bad,
yeah, exactly.
But you said about making it a shady garden. You then put in a lot of edible trees, didn't you?
Yes.
The fruit-bearing trees.
Yeah, I kind of had the approach that any tree that I put in should have multifunction. It either needs to be not just aesthetically pleasing, but have good autumn colour or good bark colour, so there's autumn and winter interest. And if it couldn't do those things, have fruit. So yeah, I think there's about 14 trees in the garden.
Yeah.
And the majority of them will bear fruit.
What's that, plums, apples?
Yeah, so there's it was supposed to be a Victoria plum, but thanks to an unnamed online supplier called Sutton's, sent me some random variety which gets tiny little red plums on there, which do go sweet, but there's hardly any flesh on them. Green gage, which we've had 1 green gage from in 8 years, but apparently there's some saying that you plant an apple for you plant a plum for your kids and you plant a green gauge for your grandkids. It's something like that because it takes them so long to start fruiting properly. But I mean, to be honest, it's actually a really nice tree. We bought it as a half standard. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those trees that just happens to have grown into a really nice shape, and it actually blocks one of our neighbours' doors really nicely. So it's perfect. Yep, big deal around here.
Of course.
There's four different types of apples. They're sort of heritage varieties. There's Pitmaster's pineapple, Bloody Ploughman, which has red flesh, an unnamed variety that we got out of the bargain bin local hardware store. Yeah. There's figs. There's the cherries, 2 cherries. There's the, what is it? I'm going to forget the name now. Medlar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you therefore have presumably just a whole sanctuary of birds in your garden, do you? They will come piling in?
Yes and no. We didn't when we first started, because next door's garden had a lot of shrubs, which is where they used to live, and they would come into our garden to feed. Then the next door cleared their garden out, which you might have seen our garden as well. It's just all grass.
Is it the one on your right?
Yes.
Yep. Well, I was going to ask you about that garden on the right.
Yeah,
because they have terraces in there.
Well, so they intentionally tried to copy what we did, because they had a slope.
This is what I said to Sweetpea. I said, "Oh, do you think they're learning from Benn's garden?"
I think so.
Well, I would like to think so, but it's been basically those grass terraces for 5 years now.
Oh, that's
and it's just that's all it's been. So there's nothing for the birds next door. So the old birds went away. But actually, in the last 5 years, our shrubs and trees have really matured. And the birds have all come back. So and now they're sort of concentrated in our garden rather than next door and coming in.
Yeah,
they're actually part of our
You've got them all. Yeah. And you've got upstairs neighbours. How many floors up does it go? How many neighbours up?
There are 4 flats in total, including ours. So 3 on top of us.
So your 3 upstairs neighbours enjoy seeing into your garden?
Yeah, I mean, it's London, so they're all rentals, but we know the neighbours directly above, and they love it. They look directly out onto it, almost ground level. They're all the same height.
Yeah, but they don't have access. It's not a communal garden.
No, it's private. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Well, absolutely beautiful. Interesting about the gabions, it is something we've looked into. Our concern is making the ground stable enough for them to have a solid foundation, really.
So that's exactly the online information that I found was basically, if they're wide enough, they don't need a foundation. If you want them narrow, then you have to put a foundation in, or a support pole inside. So basically like a scaffolding pole, galvanized scaffolding pole inside into the ground.
Oh, and you kind of ram that down through it.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that. So how fat do they have to be to not need a foundation?
Well, it depends on the height. So the taller they are, the wider they need to be. Ours are, I think, 1.2 meters or 1.5 meters tall, and they are 60 centimeters wide. I think I'm trying to remember 8 years ago when I put the order in.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it. And if they're filled with heavy enough material, you'll have enough traction, basically.
And where did you get your material from?
So they're all filled with waste product from that I dug up in the garden. So the old concrete paths, old bricks, old slates. I mean, there's 150 years worth of rubbish that we dug up in the garden. It was literally like a full layer. But which hasn't been cared for a long time. And then obviously it's really random stuff that you get.
Yeah.
But so to make them look nice on the front, the original retaining wall that was sort of a meter away from the house that the builders took out had been replaced in the 80s. So it was solid concrete. And when they chipped it down, it was actually it was a consistent like concrete mix, which sounds awful, but actually when you faced it all up against the front of the basket, you can kind of overlap it like a little bit like fish scales.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It actually looks really nice. So that's what faces all the baskets.
Oh, pretty.
Right.
Yeah, and then we used, where we have the steps going up in the middle of the garden, those gabions aligned with the bricks that we took down from the sort of partition wall between us and the neighbour. Okay. So they're sort of vintage bricks that are in there, so a little bit different texture.
So everything you've described very much speaks to an artistic slant. And from my super sleuthing, I found out that you do have an artistic background. Photography, is that right? Botanical photography is some of the stuff you've done and are doing?
Correct, yeah. That's quite recent. Yeah, sort of 2019, I think I started doing that. I am a graphic designer by education. That's what I went to school for, went to college for. But if I'm perfectly honest, I chose that because I thought it would be a more lucrative career than being a fine artist. bit more stable income. Little did I know.
Little did you know, because it's not a stable income, or?
Well, yeah, it's in the last, since I joined that industry, it's become really undervalued.
Oh, really?
no.
Yeah,
What's caused that? Not
Well,
AI.
No, I mean more recently, yes, I should say, but
Right.
yeah, in the last 20 years since 21, 22 years since I left school, design programs have become much more accessible. So it used to be a really specialist skill to be able to use the tools. A lot of it was hand skills. Now it's, anybody can pick up, Google Slides and create a designed presentation deck or that kind of thing. So I work in digital stuff now, user experience design, user interface design. But my creative outlet is the botanical photography, which actually started really picking up because we got the garden.
Right.
So as I think I said in the Gardens World segment, I grew up in the Northeast on a farm.
In Durham.
Exactly, in Durham.
Yeah.
And from leaving there until buying the flat I'm in now, had no outdoor space. That was like 14 years of city living, not even a windowsill, let alone a
bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, exactly. But so there's a sort of consolation of that. I would visit gardens and go to botanical gardens wherever I was, and still watch gardening programs. So 14 years worth of ideas and inspirations sort of built up, and that was that was mentioned. Yeah. And then the photography thing was a sort of side creative thing for a long time, just a sort of hobby. Then in 2019, once the garden started to mature, I realized actually I was able to grow a lot more stuff that I couldn't buy in florist shops and things like that, really specialist stuff. And it became part of the story that I was growing it myself in London, in Clapham, and then photographing it. And it's, they're not traditional botanical portraits.
No.
It's much more about, it's not just the plant itself, but the context that it grew in. So if there's hail damage on the leaves on the tulips, or there's green fly, or the slugs have eaten some of the petals, it's all part of the image, it's all part of the story of the plant itself, and a bit more awareness of the environment that it grew in, basically. So,
right.
Yeah.
Instead of having it pristine.
Exactly.
There were two series, weren't there? There was the garden construct and the wild construct.
That's right, yeah. So the garden construct's all grown here.
Yeah.
The wild construct is a bit of an expansion of the theme. So nothing I photograph is natural. It all exists because humans wanted to, or have done something to the environment to create a microclimate or a microenvironment in which that plant grows, and that's the Wild Construct series. So everything in that series is gathered from roadside verges. So within, a few inches of the roads, we'll be growing these amazing plants.
So you're just hammering down a road and then say, Brandon, stop the car.
that has literally happened, yes.
Really?
Yeah. More typically, it's I'm out with a walk with the dog, and there's interesting stuff, and I'll go back the next morning and find specimens and bring them back to the house, and do that sort of thing. But yeah, so that's more about despite the fact we've obviously severely disrupted that habitat, we can still find this beauty that sits right by the side of the road that we just kind of ignore day to day, and sort of put it in focus in front of people as well. So slightly different skew on the same thing. Yeah.
And so you're exhibiting.
Yeah, I just this year was a really good year actually. So I did a thing called the Other Art Fair, which I've done a few years now. It's in London, and around the world as well. But I do the London edition. Okay. But also I got a space in the RHS Botanical Photography and Art Show.
Oh right!
Oh cool!
And won a Silver Gilt award this year.
Oh, fantastic! Well, congratulations!
Brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite a surprise. The first year I've entered it, and they seemed to like what I was doing. So
yeah. So you're going to continue?
Definitely.
Well, loads more questions, but I think we should get cracking with your dream garden.
Yes.
So I'll hand you over to Sweet Pea. Then hopefully we can talk a bit more about some other bits and pieces as we go along. Over to you, Sweet Pea.
Okie dokie. Right. Starting off with the dream garden, what would be your ideal and perfect garden boundary?
I went a few ways with this, but I think I keep coming back to the thing that was the dream when I was a kid as well. It'll be that's really Victorian era, full height, brick and lime mortar walled garden.
Wow!
My dad always tells stories of a farm that he grew up on, which had a sort of double width version of that with a hollow. You can light a fire and basically warm the wall as well.
Yeah. A walled garden that has a hollow in it.
Yeah, so the wall has a hollow in it. You can light a fire at one end and it draws the heat through.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it was my dad that told me that. Maybe I'm putting that in his mouth, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So you've then
That's
basically
amazing.
to keep your garden warm.
Yeah, so you can grow peaches and things against the wall and
Yeah.
not get frost drop on the blooms and things like that. Yeah,
Is there a special name for that wall with the hollow?
I don't
in it?
know. I don't know, but yeah, I think
that's
that would definitely be it, and
Yeah.
it would need to be something that's been softened by years as well. There's something about the texture of an old brick wall that's got ferns growing in here and there, and
Beautiful,
that
yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you
What
mean.
stone did you say you'd like it in? You said lime.
So those traditional handmade bricks and lime mortar rather than
Yes.
cement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh yeah.
So that surprises me. I thought you were going to go hedgerow because you talked about that on the show.
Well, that's the other way I would go. So if I was,
Yeah.
a native species hedgerow, because I see how much wildlife they bring in.
Yeah.
They're fantastic for it, and they're beautiful when they're done really nicely. But this goes back to being a kid. So growing up on the farm, Durham is a patchwork of glacial valleys, which means really wide valleys.
All right.
And the farm that I grew up on actually is in the middle of one of those valleys on a hill, which means it is
Okay.
exposed all the time to the wind.
Of course.
And there is, I can go outside in any weather because you can dress for any weather. If it's raining, doesn't matter, dress properly. If it's snowing, doesn't matter, dress properly. If it's hot, doesn't matter, dress properly.
Yeah.
Wind, you can't get away from.
No.
No. You can't have a good hairdo on that day either.
Well, exactly. It just pulls you all the time. It's horrible. So I went where I would definitely go for that sort of 10, 12 foot tall Victorian walled garden for sure.
So do your parents still have the farm?
They're still there. Yep, they're still
And
there.
they have a wall around it, but not with this hollow in it.
No. So this was my dad's where he grew up in his childhood
okay.
farm in Springwell.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Also
on
in the
their
northeast.
farm, it's exposed, very windswept. You haven't got any wind breaks at all.
Yeah, exactly. Because of where it is, right on top of the hill,
Yeah.
couldn't even really plant a shelter belt.
No.
Or you could, but then it would block the views, and you have to take up a lot of field space
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
it.
it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of farm is it?
It was a mixed farm when I was growing up, so beef cattle and arable. Then just arable and a livery business, horses and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to picture this fire area. What does it look like? If you're looking at the wall, what does it look like?
So I keep saying it's my dad, and I'm pretty sure it was. But now you're making a question myself. But it's basically it's a wall, right? It's got two sides,
Yeah.
and it is effectively hollow in the middle, but with a top, right? So
I see. So the whole length of the wall is hollow.
yeah, and you
kind
light
of
a
a
fire at
cavity
one.
wall.
Exactly, you light a
Okay,
fire at one end at
gotcha.
the bottom, and then at the other end there's a chimney on the other side of the if it's going around a loop.
So cool.
So it
Oh,
pulls the
that's
air
so
through,
cool.
Yeah.
and it pulls the heat all the way around.
It's like Roman times with those spas. It goes kind of underneath and in
Exactly,
these
the
kind
old
of caverns.
the Roman hypocaust
Yes.
floors.
Yeah,
thing.
gosh.
Yeah, same principle, I
That's
guess.
absolutely brilliant. I love that idea. Well then, would you like a shed or a greenhouse?
Greenhouse.
Or just like
Why?
Greenhouse.
that. It's a greenhouse.
I derive so much pleasure from my 8x6 greenhouse. It works all year. I grow seedlings in the spring. I then replant seedlings in the autumn that need the cold stratification to grow. In the summer, everything gets turfed out and we grow tomatoes and aubergines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get to grow weird little things in there that won't grow in the garden because we're in heavy clay. So it's just there's something about it that just it's its own little special space within the garden itself. It's always it's a pleasure to be in there, always.
And it just widens all your options, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really does.
What
yeah.
was
Is yours heated? Sorry, Sweet Pea. Don't worry.
It is not. That is the one addition I would make to it if I had the space, a heated section.
Okay.
But it is cold. It's a cold greenhouse. It was sort of an intentional thing to begin with, just because it was one of the first things I bought for the garden because I knew I wanted to grow a lot of the plants that are here on site.
Yeah.
It's one of life's great pleasures, being able to grow something from seed
Yeah.
and
so
see it
great.
all the way through its life.
Yeah.
And we didn't need a heated greenhouse for that because we were growing all hardy perennials. So it was. It also kept the cost down at the beginning as well, which is a big
sure.
deal. Yeah.
Of course.
I was about to ask, you said about some interesting plants that you'd grow in the greenhouse that you couldn't grow outside because of the clay. What were those?
So there's some conifer stuff in there. There's sarracenas, and that's a couple of years in particular. There are sort of alpine bulbs, some scillas and things like that, which I can't remember the variety names of them. You put me on the spot now. Thanks for that.
I need to know the variety.
Yeah. There's some really interesting scillas that look like little bottle brushes.
Oh, cool.
There's I forget the Latin name for it, but its common name is the woodland ghost, and it's in the arum family. And they basically put on these little white pitchers that sit just above ground level. So like a group of little ghosts when they come up in the autumn.
All right.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really odd stuff like that thanks to online nurseries, you can actually get access to. But I could never grow it outside because the slugs would get it, or caterpillars would get it, or the clay would just not allow it to grow. But having the greenhouse just really lets me do that. And it's just a pleasure, just a real pleasure. I'm definitely a plantsman, and it expands the things I can grow. Yeah, these little jewels that are in there.
Is horticulture something that interests you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I would love to. It's I every couple of years I pull up the RHS qualifications page application and think, should I just take a few months off and do it, or try and do it part-time over a couple of years?
Me too, Ben.
Yeah, and then then life happens, and I need to earn some money, and
you've got to earn money. That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's on the bucket list. If I'm lucky enough to retire early, which, let's look into that. I would definitely do that. It would definitely be my sort of retirement luxury. But it's in the wish list right now.
Yeah, sure. With the greenhouse, you said you've got 8x6 meter greenhouse. If space was no issue, money was no issue, what sort of size greenhouse would you be having?
Well, I would like an 8x6 meter, but I've got an 8x6 foot greenhouse.
Oh, you've got an 8. Of course, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
It's 6 foot.
I actually, if I could do 2 10x8 greenhouses joined with a shed in the middle,
right.
So you've got your potting shed in the middle. You've got one heated on one side and one cold on the other. Yeah. That would be the absolute ideal setup.
Yeah. Are we assuming you have a fairly flat garden in your dream garden?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's that whole thing of you've got like straight hair, you want curly hair.
Yeah.
You've got
I think you join our club of slopey garden people who all dream of flat gardens.
Yeah.
Like we will drive past a flat garden, we go, oh my gosh, can you imagine?
It must be so easy.
Can you imagine just to use a wheelbarrow? It must be amazing to use a wheelbarrow.
I was just going to say, my parents' garden's on the slope as well. So as a kid, one of my jobs was to cut the grass and obviously wheel the wheelbarrow around when it got full. And oh man, up and down.
Hard work, right?
Yeah.
Good for the glutes, though.
Good for the glutes, yeah. But next up, what would be 5 ornamentals, your favourite ornamentals for your garden?
This was really hard.
Of course, I can't choose.
I went for things that represent groups of things that I like.
So you're going to say dahlias, but all the dahlias?
No, I've almost stuck to specific things.
Okay, good.
But so the first one on the list, for a reason it's first on the list, is the sweet box, Sarcococca.
I have no idea what that is.
That is sweet.
So it's an evergreen shrub which has tiny little, really insignificant white flowers on. But importantly, they appear in the winter, and they are really heavily scented.
Yeah,
it's always a surprise. Like I obviously I planted it, I know it's there. It's been there since the beginning of the garden, but it's in the courtyard. Yeah. And whenever I take the compost out, we've got a little compost box in the kitchen, obviously kitchen scraps. Whenever I take that out in the winter and I walk past it, I get a hit of it.
And
it's like, lovely. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I planted you.
Yeah, but it's like I think a garden, successful gardens for me are the ones that are just full of these little moments of joy throughout the year, and ideally ones you've forgotten about.
The amount of things you forget about, and I mean, not even bulbs as well. Things that have just died back underground, and then they pop up, and you're like, I swear I didn't put anything there. Yep. It's just there. It's huge.
I have a habit of walking around at the beginning of the year and sort of looking at things quizzically and thinking, did I put you in? Are you a weed that's just gotten really strong over the winter? And then 3 months later, it's this beautiful thing that I've been there for years.
Yeah, it is moments of joy. So with your sweet box, would you, in your dream garden, would you have it as a hedge or would you have it as a standalone shrub? How would you have it?
Standalone shrub in strategically positioned spots. Because the point of it is you have to walk past it to smell it because it's cold air around it, so that the scent doesn't travel really. You've got to have to really walk past it quite closely.
Right.
But I think you could have it as a hedge, but it might be a bit overpowering. For me, the joy is that a spot in the garden that you walk past, and once you passed it, you can't smell it. You walk past it again on the way back, and you can. So yeah.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, by pathways.
Exactly.
How hardy is it?
I mean, that's a hard question for me to answer in London. Everything's pretty hardy here.
And you're really sheltered, I guess, as well.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the courtyard where it is. I think it's relatively hardy. I think it's probably an H6 or something on the RHS scale.
Okay.
If that's, I think that's right.
And drought resistant?
Once established, pretty much so. Yeah, I have it growing in two places, in the courtyard and in dry shade. It's obviously a lot slower growing in the dry shade, but so far it's been absolutely fine with no water for 3 years.
Okay.
So, and it does get bone dry under there.
What's your second ornamental?
Second one is tulips, and this is the one where I've not stuck to a specific variety. Although if I did, I'll probably.
Tulips.
Yeah, it's the. I'm not a big color scheme guy. I don't worry about color in the garden, so I tend to buy tulips. Well, I obviously do buy tulips every year and put them in, and don't take last year's out. So whatever survives comes up again, and if they flower, great.
Brilliant.
If they don't, who cares?
Is that in pots or in the ground?
In the ground.
Right,
And some are way more hardy than others on the clay, I find, some varieties.
Yeah.
It tends to be the Darwin hybrids that do okay.
Yeah,
the rest of them.
they're good.
They're brilliant. And they kind of get bigger and bigger and bigger, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
Multiply.
If I was going to go for a variety, it would be Rem's favourite. It looks like a 18th century variety, which is white with purple flecks.
Oh, right.
But it really looks like, if you see those traditional sort of Dutch oil paintings of still lifes and flowers, it's that kind of style of that's the kind of style of bloom.
But you like all the different colours, and just
I do.
Whatever happens in the garden.
Exactly. Again, it's going back to this thing about just creating these moments of unexpected joy. I don't care if it's a white next to a red, then it doesn't quite go. It's just the shape and the form, and some are scented and some aren't, and it's always a joy. Yeah,
they're so incredible, aren't they? So
Definitely.
You say you get some every year. How many are you getting approximately a year?
Depends on budget. If I'm honest, if I've got extra cash, I'll get more. I typically put in anywhere from 50 to, the most I've ever put in is 200, and that was sort of in the first year.
And that was because it was a good Christmas present. It was a good year.
Exactly. Yeah. It actually was Christmas cash I was spending. Yeah.
Isn't it funny how we just, without thinking, will happily go and spend hundreds,
a lot of money on bulbs,
thousands, frankly, on your garden and your plants.
Yeah. My justification has always been, I don't smoke, I don't drive, so I'm going to can't spend money on.
Exactly. I don't know what the cost of smoking is, but that's how we can justify it. We don't smoke, sweet pea. Thankfully.
I don't do much shopping, so I suppose that's fine. Just
don't really buy clothes. I cut your hair, so that saves a load of money.
Yeah, exactly. You cut the hair, so
often just cut my own hair as well. So.
Yeah, there we go. That's another load.
Actually, when you add that up, that's saving a good few hundred a year. Not going to the hairdresser. Anyway,
bulbs and more plants.
Precisely.
But right, on to your third ornamental.
It's Magnolia Black Tulip.
Oh, wow. This is stunning. Do you have that in your garden currently?
So it is, I do have it. It's in the courtyard, in a pot. But it's a variety that has quite a large leaf, quite a large circular almost leaf when it's in full form. But the flower is probably the darkest of all magnolias that I'm aware of anyway. But it's almost down to black at the end of the petals, and it's quite a rounded form. So rather than that sort of more finger-like petal, it's much more closed. I think of like a closed peony kind of sort of look.
Yeah.
Fewer petals, obviously, but it's that kind of ball shape rather than the more pointed ones.
Striking.
Really striking. It's one of the few things that have got that actually flowers in the courtyards, and it's that thing every spring. The buds are on it now. I'm sitting looking at it out the window actually, and it's covered in buds.
Lovely.
And they'll sit all winter, and then that is the thing that flowers when the weather turns reliably. So once you've gone from winter into spring, when those buds start to crack, then I know, okay, we're away. Garden's going to start jumping away now.
Bloom, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, very jealous. We tried a magnolia, and the first frost got it, unfortunately. We've got a neighbour who's got the most all our trees we get are 20 centimetre or less actually trees, because we can't afford big ones. That was sad, because I was imagining all those petals falling in that particular area of the garden. And we have a neighbour, or not neighbour, but towards school, there's this most enormous one, and like you say, it comes up very, very early. The flowers come out very early.
Yeah.
And it is at that bleak time, and then suddenly this.
Yeah.
Just magnificent, aren't they?
It's
Really
that first
beautiful.
explosion of colour, I think, in the year, especially because it's a tree as well. When they're mature, which this one won't be in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I think it takes 75 years for a magnolia to become mature. I think something like that.
Right.
But when you see them, and there's a few in London. We're in actually quite an aesthetic area because of the clay, I think. You walk around the streets here in the spring, and it's just spectacular.
Yeah.
It really, really is. Spectacular is the word for it.
Yeah, it is. It's quite striking. You've got yours in a pot, so do you plan to put that in the ground, or you just always keep it in a pot?
No, I was sort of hedging my bets because if we ever move, it will come with me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, of course. And dig up all the other plants as well.
Yeah, and if I'm perfect honest, when I first moved in, I did do a soil test, and I got really mixed results depending on where we were in the garden. I later found out that was because as we were saying before, when they built the foundations for the house, they dug the spoil up and pushed it in, just threw it into the back of the garden.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a layer of really limey gravel material that's sort of where the river's washed on the banks of the river on top, and then below that is the acidic clay. So that's how people in the area can grow magnolias. Once they're down into that acidic layer, they're okay. But because my pH tests when I first moved in was showing at the best neutral and at worst really quite heavy lime, quite alkaline, couldn't plant it in the ground.
Oh, okay.
So it went in a pot instead. But
Yeah.
What's your fourth ornamental?
honeysuckle.
Ah,
Another
lovely.
Yeah,
lovely
you can see a
fragrant
sort
one
of
to have.
exactly. You can see a theme around the fragrance. It's something I'd really underrated when I planned the garden, and since I've understood actually how it can change the space and how you interact with it, I've really tried to start to bring more in. So we planted a couple of honeysuckles now along the fence line, and the bees they just absolutely love it as well. So it's another layer of wildlife coming
Are
in.
yours in flower at the moment?
No, and I actually took the decision to cut them back this year.
Right.
Because they were doing that. Yeah, they were starting to do that thing where they sort of make a bit of a bird's nest at the top of the fence and not much else.
Yeah. We've got
And
that.
I read that you can some varieties respond to it really well and others not so much. But yeah, so
What, the cutting back?
Yeah. So we're trying that this year.
Well, finally, what's your fifth ornamental?
Colchicums will be my fifth one.
What is that?
Something it's called the autumn crocus, although I think that's incorrect because I think they actually are autumn crocuses. But it looks like a big crocus and it comes up in the autumn.
Are they not the ones you get the saffron from?
No, that is sativus. That is a crocus. So the flowers come up now before the leaves. Leaves come up in the spring. And again, this is the theme that I'm going on. It's basically these things that happen unexpectedly. So at some point between sort of September, October, November, if you're really late, these flowers just appear. These oddly, slightly tropical-looking flowers, like I say, look like a big crocus, and from the bare soil.
Lovely. What colour are they?
They're usually they're predominantly pink, but they stray in a sort of very light purple and white.
Right.
And there are single and double forms.
Oh, okay.
And the white double form, which I cannot get to grow here, is just wondrous. So it's just one of those flowers you just look at and think, my God, somebody has literally sat down and made that.
Wow. So you say you can't grow the white one, so you're all right with the other colours, but white are harder to grow.
The white double one in particular, for whatever reason, just doesn't like it here.
And you have those in the greenhouse? No, you just have those.
No, in the ground, yeah. I got those. They're normally sort of £4 or £5 per bulb.
Wow.
But there's a discount website, which I generally don't go to because the quality is never very good. Mm-hmm. But they were selling them off at the end of the year for £1 each. Oh. So I got a dozen.
For a penny.
Yeah, got a dozen. It was like, okay, give them a go. If they don't work, who cares? If they do, brilliant. And they worked.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so I've since bought proper ones, and they haven't worked as well. So,
right.
maybe
discount.
Maybe that's the lesson, yeah.
Yeah. And do they spread?
Yes, slowly in my case, but yes. Yeah, they do clump up.
Well then, what would be 5 edible plants for your garden?
So I think the first one on the list is got to be peas. And any variety of pea you like. I like Brower Shocker.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
which I think is
that one.
Yeah. I think a Monty Dunn favourite as well.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. And
so pretty.
It's that thing. It's a gardener's privilege of growing something, picking it and eating it right there and then. Mm-hmm. And there's, in particular, on a warm day, if you pick a pea pod that's been in the sun, so they're slightly warmed up.
Yes.
So they're extra sweet. Yeah, it's a winner every time.
Oh, roll on summer again. I want to be doing that now.
Yeah.
Do you have in your garden a dedicated veggie area?
We did when we first did it, mostly because we had extra border space that wasn't planted because we didn't have all the plants to fill it. Things were taking time to grow on. So I filled everything with vegetables that didn't have ornamentals in there. So the first sort of 3 years we had that were spaces that were vegetable only. Most of that has since been turned over to ornamentals, permanent planting, mostly because of time, if I'm quite honest. Growing vegetables it takes a lot more time than just plonking some ornamentals in.
Yeah.
But there are 2 raised beds still that are dedicated for vegetables, but it's sort of a 1.5 meter raised beds, and then a smaller one which kind of has herbs and things in there now.
Did we see any of your veg on the Gardener's World segment?
I don't think so. No, I think they skipped over that. They didn't really show every part of the garden. We did a walkthrough during the filming. I mean, they were here all day, sort of 12 hours of filming for that 7 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot.
A long day.
It was a lot. So we did like a walkthrough of every area, sort of explaining the concept and what's in there and why I like it, what I would change. And they cut almost all of it out. So it was
really?
I think from the segment, it was kind of difficult to see how the garden fits together.
Yeah. It wasn't until I looked afterwards and saw some photos online that you had taken that I got a better idea of it. So I can't picture where your veg beds are. Are they on the same terrace as your greenhouse?
One up from there.
And then is there just one more terrace after that, and that's your little hidden seating place?
Correct. That's it, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that's the one that sits behind the log wall or on top of the log wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And you are open through the NGS, presumably not at the moment.
No, we only do one official opening a year.
Okay.
Next year is in April. I think April 26th, but I would need to check that date.
Okay.
And we do that because we line up with 2 of the gardens that are it's in the street that backs onto our garden, one street over.
Okay.
And then there's a hospice at the end of our street, Trinity Hospice, which open their gardens up. They've got like big formal gardens in there.
Because we heard from one of our guests that you have to open with the NGS, you have to have 45 minutes of walking around and interest. Is that right? Otherwise, you open with others in your...
Yeah, I was told 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that might be a specific thing for urban gardens. The reason they actually approached us to open, because I think they're trying to find more urban, domestic-sized spaces, more sort of smaller spaces. They have a lot of like big country gardens that open up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is a big garden for London. I'm under no illusion for that. But within it, there are smaller spaces that you could translate into a smaller plot.
The NGS approached you. Was that on the back of anything? Because you were nominated for People's Choice Awards. Was that what came first?
The People's so we entered that was the Gardeners World magazine Gardens of the Year competition. We got placed in the top 10.
Cool.
But didn't win, which was a shame. So it was Chit-Chat Japan was the prize, and I was really looking forward to it.
Oh wow, was it?
Yeah,
that's a pretty good prize.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
That came first, and that was in the garden's second year. So I was surprised we even got placed, to be honest, because there was still really, really, really new garden.
Are you going to enter again next year?
Maybe. I keep looking at the prize, and it's never been quite as nice as that trip. So I'm
going to wait for another Japan trip, and then you'll enter.
Yeah, something good.
Yeah, sounds like the Maldives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something really worth it. So that came first, but unrelated to the NGS. NGS happened because we actually went to an opening of the garden that backs on in the street that backs onto ours. It's just a 5-minute walk from here.
Okay.
We got chatting to the owners, and it turns out that one of the owners was actually now the chairman of the organisation of the NGS.
Oh, okay.
So he told the local area organizer, because they sort of divide the country into areas, and Penny Snell, who was a force to be reckoned with, wonderful lady, came over and sort of said, you must open with us.
What's your neighbour's garden like?
Yeah.
Quite different, actually. So the street, obviously it's 2 rows of houses, and the gardens meet in the middle behind. So
do you have an alleyway between?
No, it's back to back. What that means is, because the houses are quite tall, our garden's in shade from around 12 p.m. Starts to go into shade, and until about 2 p.m. the whole garden is then in shade from 2 p.m. onwards. They have the opposite, where they actually get the sunlight until very end of the day.
Oh, lovely.
Because it still comes over the top of our houses into theirs.
Gotcha.
So they grow lots of Mediterranean stuff. They have really sandy, gravelly soil, so really free draining, opposite of what we have.
Wow, so cool. Great contrast to yours then.
Very much so.
People are visiting your two properties.
And a very different style as well. It's all quite flat. They're on one level.
Is it? How do they manage that?
Yeah.
But can you explain how has that happened? Why don't they have a slope at all from all the stuff dug out?
Yeah, so our street is older than theirs. Mm-hmm. They were, when these houses were built, a park. Basically, it was called the Chase, which is obviously a flat area. When they built our street, the property developer only owned the land on which our houses are built, didn't own the Chase. So the spoil that they dug out from the trench that they built our houses in, obviously, as I say, was thrown behind, and they built a retaining wall to hold that soil back. So when you go to the top of our garden, there's actually about a 10-foot drop on the other side.
Oh my gosh!
Down to their level. So and then their ground level is effectively the almost where our garden started, its lowest level.
Right.
So we go up, and then there's sort of, you can think like a triangle. We go up, and then there's a drop on the back, and then they carry on the other side. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Wow, very different then.
Yeah, completely different. There's the sort of feel of it as well. He has a lot more shrubs, and he plants like 2,000 tulips every year. So he always opens for spring.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he has a lot more mature plants in there as well, because he inherited some stuff, and he's been gardening there for, I think, 25, 30 years, something like that.
It's a lot more mature.
Yeah. So very different.
What a great thing then to be able to go to yours and theirs and see something so different in close proximity.
Well, now then, what's the second edible plant?
Second one is any heirloom tomato.
Anyone.
If I was trying to pick one variety, I came up with two. So I always grow yellow pear.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And indigo apple.
Oh yes, we did that one this year.
Mm-hmm. Sweet pea's our tomato queen. Which one was that, Sweet pea? Oh, I know which one that was. Well, so
the purple one,
the indigo one.
Which one was
Clues in the name.
The purple one.
See who's the brains of this operation. They seem to ripen a lot later than the red ones. Is that the same for you?
Yeah,
exactly. That's kind of why I like them. It prolongs the season a bit.
Right. And do they ever really ripen? Because ours never really seemed to fully. They never went really soft. They just stay quite firm.
Yeah, ours did. They go black really quickly. They go the dark colour really quickly. With a green bottom, I always tend to have, and then when that goes red, then they're properly ripe. I tend to pick them from sort of half ripe to ripe, and they do go ripe in the greenhouse. They ripen actually quicker if you pick them half ripe and bring them in.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you grow all yours in your greenhouse, not out.
Yes.
In the open.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't. I think that's a northern thing that I can't get out of me. My granddad always grew his in his greenhouse because he had to.
Yeah.
I don't think I really need to here.
No.
There's something about walking into the greenhouse and brushing past the tomato and then going back into the house, and it smells like tomato leaves, not tomatoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tomato foliage has such a beautiful smell, doesn't it?
So I think the problem we had, because we had like literally only purple varieties. There was indigo apple and another variety, and we only had purple varieties this year. I don't know why we did that, but it was just
no, we didn't. We had red ones as well, Sweet pea.
We had red ones, but very few. Yeah. And so our tomato season was a lot later because we didn't have like succession of different varieties. So I think next year we're going to try and have like the ones that ripen quickly, and then also indigo apple would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly how I do it. I tend to go for a cherry variety because they come out quick and they're profuse. Then the more interesting ones on top of that, which are mid-season, that's the yellow pear. It looks like a little pear. It's got like a teardrop shape to it. They're a nice size. Yeah, and then something like a green zebra I'll grow, which are actually really nice. And then a basic red one, or a beefsteak red one, or a yellow beefsteak, and then the dark ones as well. Think Instagram. What's going to look good if you take a picture of it together in a salad? Like,
of course. Are you Instagramming a lot with all your produce and your plants?
No, I keep telling myself I need to post one thing a week, and then I think I posted 3 images this year.
Right.
It's, again, it's that pesky life thing. Yeah, it's that pesky life thing getting in the way and actually doing things in the garden.
Wow. Imagine retirement, huh? What we'll do at that time.
Roll on.
So which one is the one you're going to choose? Will it be indigo apple and your yellow pear's an honourable mention? You can only have one?
I think so. Because of the lateness of indigo,
Yeah.
it's a bonus to having that extra layer, rather than a glut.
In your dream garden, would you have a dedicated vegetable area walled off or fenced off or anything like that, or do you want to have it? You do. You want it like that.
I would have an area fenced off. I would grow sort of cottage garden style and put things in the borders. I would do it here if I could, but the slugs are just an immense problem in this garden. But yeah, I would grow some things integrated, because I think some things like red kale is absolutely beautiful and would be a really nice filler in a border.
Yeah.
But I think it's this. Yeah, maybe it's a northern thing. My granddad had 2 allotments, one for vegetables, one for flowers. I think there is something about having a special space for vegetables where it just is. Nice. Yeah, I think it's a bit more efficient as well. I think it's easier to take care of them if they're all together, kind of thing. So yeah, definitely.
You don't have an allotment?
No.
And did you used to spend a lot of time on your granddad's allotment?
As much as I could. They lived sort of 45 minutes away from us by car. Right. Well, maybe a bit less than that. It always felt like a long way as a kid in the back of the car.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
But I would go and I would definitely go and help them, especially as you got a bit older, to like dig the garden over in the winter to let the frost into the ground, as you sort of used to do, rather than the no dig that we have now. They would come up and visit on a weekend, and we'd drive them back, and typically I'd go with them. That's one of the memories I have, is going into the greenhouse and brushing past the tomatoes. And in the winter they would get turfed out, and you would grow show chrysanthemums in there.
All right.
The really big bloomed ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the smell.
The smell, really strong smell.
Yeah, and then the reason I said about the greenhouse before being the ideal one being sort of 2 large greenhouses with a shed in the middle.
Yeah.
That's how he had it set up.
Oh, really? You had one heated and one unheated.
He would heat it. They were cold, but he had a heater that he put into one, and that was the one that he had the grapevine growing in.
Oh, beautiful.
But yeah, I think that's where that comes from as well.
Was he a farmer as well?
No, this was my mum's side. My dad's side of the family is the farming side. My mum's side, he was a miner. He was the foreman in the pit. Yeah.
Lovely memories.
What's the third edible plant?
Third is maybe quite boring, actually. It's Cavallonero, black kale. I've grown it a bunch of times. I didn't grow it this year because the slugs got all my seedlings, and I couldn't plant them again. But I've grown it every year since we moved in, and it's just a really good doer. It just you put it in, and if the slugs don't get it, it just grows away during the summer, and then from end of the summer through January, I think February was the latest I've been harvesting. You can still pluck leaves off. It's the last thing and the first thing that I harvest from the end of the winter to the beginning of the winter. From the beginning of the winter to the end of the winter.
Yeah.
Because it's if I'm harvesting in February, I'm not harvesting anything else, but that's still coming in.
Yeah.
So it's the thing that lets you harvest from the garden, like in the very depths of winter.
It's a good. What do they call it? The hunger gap. It's a good little filler for that period, isn't it? Yeah. What do you do with your Cavallonero?
Almost always it is fried in a dry pan with just a very slight dash of olive oil and then pepper, and that's it.
That's it.
Lovely.
Occasionally sprinkle a bit of lemon juice on there.
Yeah.
I'm feeling fancy, but otherwise, that's it.
Yummy.
What's the fourth one?
Fourth one's the candy cane beetroots.
Yes.
I'm going to try and say it's Chioggia, I think it is.
All right.
But it's the one that has concentric rings of white and pink when you slice it open.
So I mean, with your artistic background, they're just works of art, aren't they?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. But again, it's that thing it's one of those things that having a garden allows you to elevate life a little bit. Rather than just going to the supermarket and being able to get red beetroot, sometimes fresh, not always, and occasionally golden beetroot if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But you can grow this really easily. It gets direct sown. I don't have to faff around putting into plugs and planting out.
No.
It just does its thing, and a few weeks later, you've got these little works of art, like you say. And they're great.
Very
People don't
reliable,
like it.
Aren't they?
Very. It's a really good. It's a really good cropper again.
Do you cook yours or do you eat them raw?
Really thinly sliced in salads, dressed with a bit of acid to cut through. Perfect. Yeah. Just raw. Yeah. But also cooked because they taste really good. Obviously, they lose some of their colour when you cook them.
Yeah.
But they are, I think, the sweetest beetroot I've ever grown.
Yeah.
They are the tastiest, aren't they?
Yeah.
I find the red one quite kind of fierce with its taste. The white one's hasn't got enough taste, and then the pink and white is just perfect, I find.
Yeah, it's the right balance of sweet and earthy that you get from beetroot. The red ones, when I roast them, I do kind of like the earthy taste, but occasionally it's not right for what I want.
No.
But yeah, the choggia, definitely, that's the way to go for me.
Thinly sliced raw in a salad it tastes good, and it's a feast for the eyes as well. Do you have the orange ones as well, the orange stripy ones?
No, I tried them once and they failed miserably.
Right.
So I've just stuck with the choggia since then.
Yeah.
What's the last edible plant?
We're coming back to fruiting trees again. It's the Victoria plum.
Oh, the one that you never got.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like we're really rubbing it in, Sweet Pea. Probably cut one of those.
Again, it's the whole memories thing. There was a Victoria plum tree growing in my grandparents' garden. At the farm that I grew up on, my grandparents lived there as well. Mm-hmm. And in their garden was a Victoria plum tree. And it used to fruit like anything every year.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, it's another one of those things. If you can sort of dodge the wasps that inevitably move in as soon as they ripen.
Yeah, of course.
And get a fresh plum direct right off the tree. It's a little bit warm, it's been in the sun. And it's just a bit of heaven right
Juicy
there.
as heck.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up with a Victoria plum tree as well, and exactly the same memories, avoiding the wasps, and then just plucking. They're so nice and big and fleshy. There's loads of flesh on the stone, isn't there?
Yeah, and I don't think I've bought plums in the last 10 years from the supermarket that have tasted or had the right texture anywhere near the same as those Victoria plums.
Is the plum tree still there?
No, it died off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was old when my parents moved to the farm, I think, and it was sort of in my childhood on its last legs. But still, the bits of it that weren't dying back were still thriving. Yeah.
Well, now, what would be the statement tree in your dream garden?
It would be one that I grow, and it's Davidia, which is the handkerchief tree.
The handkerchief tree?
Yeah, sometimes called the handkerchief tree, sometimes called the ghost tree. And it's because it has these large white bracts around the flowers in around May time.
Yeah.
I think I've seen this.
Yeah,
You've seen a handkerchief tree, for sure.
Yeah.
It's sort of come back a bit in the last few years. But it was, I think, first brought into the country in Victorian times. I know about it because I watched, as a kid, a documentary series on the Lost Gardens of Heligan.
Oh, yeah. Down in Cornwall.
It was in the 90s. It was on Channel 4, I think, somewhere like that. But it basically followed them finding and restoring the gardens, which really captivated me because it was kind of magical. All the old structures there. They found the old sundial. And when they were clearing the walled garden, at the far end of the walled garden was a mature, then by that point, Davidia.
Right.
And it was this it's from China. It has no business being in Cornwall anywhere in the UK. And it's just spectacular. It's just not like nothing else that I'd grown up with. It's all sycamores and beech and birch and all sorts around me, but it's all native species. So seeing that, it's like, okay, that's something pretty special. And it's stuck in my head since the 90s that would be something I would want to grow.
Yeah.
So we have one here, and it will be.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's in the garden.
In the ground.
What size is it?
It is about 10 foot tall now. Mm-hmm. And typically they take around between 5 and 10 years to start to bloom before you get the bracts. Right. This was a cultivar that we found called Sonoma, which flowers from year one. So we've had these amazing bracts. Yeah, it's starting to fill out enough now that when you sit under it, you feel like you're under a tree, and it's the light coming through it is magical because it's these sort of hand-sized white bracts over your head waving about. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Have you visited the Lost Gardens of Heligan?
Not yet, no.
Seeing that documentary?
No.
It'd be interesting to know what that tree's doing.
Yeah, it's on the list for sure, but not yet.
You've visited there, haven't you, Sweet Pea, with your grandparents?
Have I?
You sure have. It obviously was just such an intense memory for you. You talked about it only
into gardening.
You know where they've got it's almost like giants appearing out or lifting up like they're lifting up part of the ground and their heads peering out.
Oh,
and then it's vegetation over the top of them. And things like that.
Yeah, really
it's
like
a
mossy, grassy.
Place. That's it. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, I remember that. That it's funny because it's not as big a memory as I thought it was, even though it was like a big deal to go there with my grandparents.
Yeah.
But I wasn't into gardening at that point, so I didn't. I would love to go now and actually take in
we'll
the
go
plants
again.
and stuff because it's so
We'll
interesting.
go visit them and go see. They'd love
I
that. Your
think
grandmother
so.
would love to go there again.
Oh, she would love to go.
Family
Well.
stuff. Ben, you don't need to hear about this. We can take this offline.
Well, Ben, finally, would you like a pond or pool, and what plant would you have in that area?
All right, you're gonna get annoyed at me now because I'm gonna say both. What I would actually love is a natural swimming pool. Yeah.
How many do you think we've had of these?
Oh god.
Like 50, 100.
I know it's really pedestrian, but maybe it's a bit different because I actually don't want to swim in it. It's more just about having something I can dip my feet into.
Right. Why don't you want to swim in it?
Because I'm a redhead and going out in the sun when it's warm enough to swim, it's like I've got to put sunscreen on. And I don't want to deal with all that. Like, no, just take my socks off and dip my feet. Yeah.
But you can just put your feet in a pond.
I could, but I feel bad about doing that because it's not set up for it. I don't know. And, I have a partner who might want to go swimming, so trying to be considerate.
He might want to swim.
Yeah. What plant would you have?
Water lily.
Water lily.
Basic. Colour does not matter. There's something special about water lilies.
It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah,
you say basic, but that was one of the first things we got for our pond, and we were insistent we had to have it. And it just transforms a pond.
Completely.
It does.
Do you think it's also childhood things like Beatrix Potter and?
I mean, it must be. There's something magical about it. They disappear in the winter. The leaves come back up in the spring, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, overnight, these super tropical looking flowers come up as well.
Yeah, exactly. They are tropical looking, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the dog. Does she need to go out?
She's broken. No, she's fine. She's just being a pain.
Axel's being very well behaved.
He's fast asleep.
So how big would you have this pond? Big enough for Brandon to swim in?
Yeah, I would want a sizable pond, I think, more because it increases the amount you can grow around the edge. So, different varieties. Yeah, bigger is definitely better for a pond.
And you want wildlife in there, so you're happy to have the frogs, the newts.
Definitely.
Leeches, you're all right with the leeches?
Maybe not in a swing pond, but I think they're kind of unavoidable, right? If you bring importing plants in. Yeah.
Apparently so.
Finally, what would be your favourite seating area, your ideal drink, and a plant for that area?
This was an interesting one because the seating in our garden's kind of evolved. Okay. And I think the one I would pick is the area that went in last, which is the soft seating area. So it's basically a really comfy outdoor sofa underneath the pergola.
Lovely.
Yeah, we saw that on the show, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it's like the last shot where the dog comes and jumps up. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've both got a glass of wine.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a real unexpected luxury to have somewhere in the garden that I can sort of lie down and take a snooze on those 2 times a year. Allow myself to do that without jumping up and then doing a job in the garden.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like just somewhere I can lie back, put my feet up, and enjoy being outside without being super exposed, because obviously we're like overlooked here as well. So the pergola plays a big part, and then having something growing over the top of that.
So you sheltered enough up there that when you lie down, you look up at vegetation rather than other windows.
Yep,
so you've got a nice little hidey hole up there.
Yeah, and because the trees are now coming up as well in front of it, it's on the same level as the greenhouse, which is the level above the main level that we call.
Yeah.
Which has trees planted in it, so the tree's now shading one side of it, which blocks all the views from that side, and then obviously the rest of the garden slopes up behind it, so the other side of windows is blocked, and then from the top we're blocked as well, so it's kind of secluded now, which is quite nice.
So that's your dream seating. You actually possess your dream seating then?
Yeah.
So even in your dream garden that's got this heated wall, you would still have a little pergola with seating underneath. Yeah,
I would like it bigger. It's the size it is because it's the size it has to be to fit the space.
Right. Yeah.
So it is a bit tight, but this bit bigger for sure.
Yeah. So twice the size, so 2 if you can lie down.
Exactly.
Same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
The drink, I think it's got to be a cup of tea, if I'm quite honest. Yeah.
Lovely.
I think I probably drink more wine in the garden than anything else, but a cup of tea on a cold day, sitting outside. It's quite
Builder's
nice.
tea?
Yeah.
Always builder's tea.
Always builder's tea with
Builder's
milk,
tea.
sugar.
Milk, no sugar.
Okay, cow's milk.
Oat milk these days.
Oat milk, no sugar.
Yep.
Got it.
Basic but comforting and just good.
Lovely.
And you're choosing that over wine because...
It's an all year. It's an all year, all situation.
Why
drink.
are you questioning it? It sounds great to me. That's what I'd do.
Sweetie loves her tea.
Yeah.
Mummy Bear loves her wine.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. There's the split. So I would have a cup of tea in the garden when I'm working out there. I would have a cup of tea in the garden in the summer and in the winter.
Yeah.
The
It
wine,
is an all-rounder, isn't it?
yeah, and the wine is
Which is
always,
great.
Yeah.
Maybe
the wine is
or
always
maybe not.
with somebody else, and
Yeah.
usually in the afternoons, obviously after work and stuff like that.
And also then that's it.
Yeah.
You can't be doing anything else. So,
Exactly.
whereas tea, you're still
There's
still
no getting the shears out and clipping hedges when we've been drinking. So, yeah.
Really don't do that.
Yeah.
And finally, what's the plant?
It's one of the more tropical looking things, but still hardy. I don't grow anything in the garden that can't survive the winter. So it would be something like Caucasia or the elephant ears plant, or more likely one of the broad-leaved gingers.
broad-leaved
Hidicium
ginger.
foresti is the white one that I grow in the courtyard. I think it'll be that.
Wait, that's a white flowered ginger.
Yeah, and it's
right.
really heavily scented as well.
And you're growing that at the moment?
Yep, it's in a pot in the courtyard. And it's one of those, again, amazing things. It sort of dies all the way down the winter. Then you get these 5-foot spikes of foliage with these big, quite wide leaves for a ginger, and these like quite loose little spires of flowers.
Yeah, we're quite interested in getting our ginger game on, as well as cannas and those tropically things. We've had success with banana plants by doing very little. They just seem to grow fine. But it would be beautiful to break that up with the canna foliage and then those stunning flowers from a ginger. So we're going to look at that. But I heard that ginger was quite slow or heavy going to grow. Is that true?
I haven't found it, so I bought two. The other one is Hidicium coccineum, I think it is. It's like an orange flowered one. That is quite quick growing, but has no scent and quite it looks like sweet corn leaves on it, like quite long, strappy leaves. It's quite nice.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's bulked up in the pot from one stem to, I need to actually pull it out and split it this year. It's 3 years in the pot. It's probably 15, 20 stems in there.
Wow. So you do, with ginger, you just, chop through it?
That's what I'm planning to do. It'll be my first time ever. It's the first time growing it.
See how that goes.
So I'll chop a lump off and give it away or pot it up somewhere else. But the other one, the foresti, is a bit more slow growing. That's gone from 1 to about 8 stems in 3 years. So it is a bit slower. Yeah. But it's a sizable plant. I mean, it's about 5 foot tall. It's, as it sort of leans out of its pot, it's probably about 1 meter wide.
Yeah, lovely. So, oh, definitely we want to try that. And do you chop off any of the ginger to eat?
No, so apparently there is a difference between the edible ginger and I think it is edible, but it hasn't got that potency of flavour that you sort of associate.
Well, I'm going to read back to you the Dream Garden, just in case there's anything you're not happy with.
Okay.
So, your garden boundary, we had these amazing Victorian full-height walls with lime mortar, brick, softened by the weather, with this cavern inside, so you can have a heated wall. Mm-hmm. Then you wanted a greenhouse for your seedlings, possibly heated in one area. You can have 2 of them, 2 greenhouses joined by this shed in the middle. 5 ornamentals. We had sweet box, tulips. Rem's favourite was one of your favourite varieties. Magnolia, black tulip, honeysuckle, colchicums. Then your 5 edibles, which was going to be in a dedicated area, were peas, blauwschokke, any heirloom tomato, indigo apple possibly, and yellow pear. Caballonero, black kale, candy cane beetroot, and Victoria plum. Then your 1 tree was a Davidia handkerchief tree. Then you wanted a natural pool, not to swim in, just put your feet in. Sizable, so that things can grow around the edge, with a water lily of any colour in it. And finally, you wanted a nice, comfy sofa to sit down on under the pergola, decent size, with a cup of tea, builder's tea, oat milk, no sugar, and finally, a broadleaf ginger, Hidicium foresti.
Perfect.
Stunning.
There we go.
beautiful garden. That's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been great talking to you.
That's been a good old chit chat with Ben.